Passion is a powerful feeling of enthusiasm. The different things going on in sports. Anything popping in the DFW. Comes on every Monday night, 7 p.m. Hi, and welcome to the Passion Project. I'm your host, Coach Richard Bacon. I know we've been on a hiatus for a minute, and for all of those faithful listeners and viewers, we're back. Got a new season started, and no other better way to start this season than with family.
Yeah.
We're family. I'm going to let my special guest introduce himself to you and let you know a little bit about him. And I guarantee you this is one of those episodes you will want to go back and watch again.
Well, hey, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here, cuz. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dion Hunter, and I'm the cousin of, I call him Cuz, but Coach Richard Bacon, and I'm so proud to be here with you this morning.
Man, this is great. This is great. So tell us a little bit about your organizations, because that's the main reason why I have, no, that ain't the main reason. It's one of the main reasons why I have you here, because I think you've been doing something for a long period of time, and a lot of people know, but there are a lot of people who don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this, a lot of people that we serve out in the Denton area, Roanoke area, they often say that we're the best kept secret in the Metroplex, and I don't like that too much because I want people to know about what we do.
You don't want to be no secret.
I don't want to be no secret, you know what I mean? And so anyway, I'm the founder and president and director of a player development and team development youth sports training organization called Hoop Hunter Basketball. And really, when you think of the name Hoop Hunter, when you shoot at the hoop, you know, you're hunting for the hoop, so you're a hoop hunter. So, you know, it's symbolic of the name, you know what I mean? So we're all hoop hunters. You have been a hoop hunter, you know what I mean? And so Hoop Hunter is our for-profit organization. And then we have another organization called Building Believers, Inc. That's our community outreach program. It's our not-for-profit organization. And in that organization, we go out into communities, Title I schools, and we provide mentorships to kids, 4th grade and beyond, just to help build them up in the communities that don't get to have the type of opportunities that we provide to the for-profit organization.
Okay. And tell us about, let's talk a little bit about family. Married? Got any kids?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. You know what? I've been blessed. I mean, like you. I've got 5 kids and 1 stepson, and like my mom and dad, you know, I'm one of 5 siblings, and so I have 4 boys, 1 girl, and then I've got Tim, who's out in Arkansas, and my wife, Diane, she's loved my life, and she's been my right hand and my rock, you know what I mean,
right.
Since day one, and so I'm real proud to have a great family, enjoy being a family man, and we love sports.
Yeah, you do.
And we love sports.
And as you said, we are
we're cousins, we're kinfolk. I'll tell you a little bit too, like all of my children have played sports, starting with Hayden. He played for you at Richland High School.
He didn't play. He didn't just play. He played.
He played. I mean, you were instrumental in helping him get this one ring that's on my finger that I brought to have you look at. It's got lots of diamonds too, you know.
Ooh, hold it up in the camera.
Yeah, that's from Hayden, and so these other rings they came from me playing basketball at UNT, but we'll talk about that a little later. But
yep.
Hayden was instrumental in playing basketball for you, and you helped him grow through the game, and I'm real proud of him. And then I've got a 17-year-old who is Trent Hunter. He's at Richland right now. He's a senior. He's our mechanical engineer. You know what I mean? He's a brain, and that's what he wants to do when he graduates. And so we're looking forward to that. And of course, I've got Grant, 6th grader, and I got a 3-year-old. And so, you know, all of them love basketball. And so we come from a basketball-rich family.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do. All of us.
Yeah, all of us. You know what I mean?
On some level and did something.
Well, you started it though. You know what I mean? I always say I kind of give props to you all the time. I always tell you I want a little bit of you to rub off on me because I can't do this without having some of you in me. You know, that's that wisdom that we need to move forward in life.
Right. So let's start this conversation talking about Hoop Hunter and building believers. What prompted you to aspire to do what you do? And then tell us a little bit more in detail exactly what Hoop Hunter does, because it was weird. I was, supplementing income with refereeing basketball game and was out at a basketball thing, and here I go, walk in, I see you, we get to talking, and you said, well, my son is getting ready to play. I'm getting ready to coach him. And I said, what time? And I said, well, that's the game I got.
Yeah, I remember that.
I said, okay.
Absolutely.
And got a chance to watch him play, and he was a part of Hoop Hunter. And tell us all, give us the background on it. Because I want to hear it for myself.
Well, first off, I'm going to call you cuz, and sometimes I'm going to call you coach. You know what I mean? You wear many hats.
Whatever you call me, I know you love it, so it doesn't matter.
You wear many hats. But first off, after playing basketball, so I played at the University of North Texas, and I was fortunate to win some championships, MVP of the league, and went to the Mavericks a couple of times. Got drafted in the CBA, played in the CBA, and played in Argentina. And when I got through playing, I coached at UNT for a minute. And I thought coaching basketball was, I thought that was the path, you know what I mean? That I would be on for life. But when I got in it and I started seeing the young people not have the full package, you know what I mean, needed to really have a great experience in college, it led me to want to do something about it.
Gotcha.
Okay, and so that's what led me to want to teach the game. And I never knew when I first started teaching individual basketball workouts or running camps on the regular and clinics, I never knew that it would lead to a 33-year career, which is how long it's been now. And that's a long time to be on the court.
Right.
And so my passion to see young people improve themselves.
I like that word, passion.
Well, see, the passion project, it ties right into that. You know what I mean? Good deal.
I like that.
But it led me to want to help young people help themselves, because people of your stature, coaches all over the Metroplex, they probably, a lot of times kids cannot fully appreciate them because a lot of times they have so many deficiencies, you know what I mean? And these are skill sets that must be developed, to help them, play the game at a high level. And so we started Hoop Hunter Basketball back in 1991.
Wow.
And the only reason, being from Dallas, the only reason it happened up north near Denton is because I had been in school so long, you know what I mean? And just got through coaching. And so, I got an opportunity to help some middle school kids. I'll just say this. Back in 1991, I was asked to come to Argyle, which is up the road from UNT, and help with establish a B team, because there was a lot of B team players that couldn't make the A team. Right. And so back then, I always say that we started B team basketball. Because
I had never heard of that.
That's what I'm saying. And that's all, out here, being from South Oak Cliff High School, you either made the A team or you got cut.
You went home.
Yeah,
it wasn't no B team. It was a C team.
It was a C team.
C team, come see us play.
Yes. And so, anyway, I felt led to give back, and so I got with different coaches in the community who had the same problem, and they had young kids who just they weren't able to make the A team, and so I called around and I got the teams together, and we played games, and that was the establishment of B teams out there in the Argyle area. And so Hoop Hunter Basketball was very instrumental in helping to build up the individual skills, the concepts of the game, which is what kids need. After you get the skills, you got to get the concept of the game down, and then you got to play. Right. And so it's kind of three components to that, and that's what Hoop Hunter Basketball does throughout the North Central Texas area. We provide individual, small group, and team training to players, girls and boys. You know what I mean? Because I grew up at Cummings Rec, and you couldn't tell a girl she couldn't play. See, back at that time, at Cummings Rec, the girls basketball was really a brand of the WNBA. You know what I mean? And so Hoopin basketball, we've been out here promoting the game, promoting the skill, welfare, and development of players for many, many years. And we go all over the Metroplex when called to help coaches help players. You know what I mean? And so then you got Building Believers, which is our not-for-profit organization. We felt like being a Christ-centered youth sports organization that we wanted to give back. We wanted to get out there and get in the trenches and help parents help kids, or schools, or even churches help the kids. And so we created an opportunity for that with that organization. And so Hoopin basketball was developed and started in 1991. And then Building Believers came right behind it in 2003. And so we've been out here helping coaches, parents, and communities grow by providing individual, small group, and team training and mentorship. But the difference, again, with Building Believers is that we go places that most don't want to go to help kids. Like right now, we're partnering with Academy 4 organization, and we go into Title I schools, and we provide mentorship through basketball for fourth graders. And we do that for about an hour and a half every month, and it doesn't cost the kids a dime. And that's something that we want to continue to do throughout the Metroplex where there's a need. So we just ask people, if you have a need for support, call us, email us. We want to be a part of your community because, my mother always said, each one teach one. And so that's part of me giving back. But all I can say is I always remind people, I'm from Dallas. I'm from the Metroplex. You know what I mean? Just because we're up north doesn't mean that I don't feel led to come back home. You know what I mean? So we go where the opportunities are and where the needs are. And so we want to partner with people all over the Metroplex.
Wow. Well, you said a whole lot then.
Yeah.
Especially what I read into that is if a kid doesn't, you creating opportunities for kids that might not have one.
Yeah.
Because we don't want not having an opportunity to be the reason why.
Exactly.
You don't succeed or you can't pursue.
Right.
Because it's like me. I was talking to a guy the other day. We were just kind of chopping it up a little bit, and we were talking about golf. And he's like, "How long you been playing?" I said, "I've been playing golf since I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, but that was a neighborhood thing. A lot of the gangsters in my neighborhood, they all played golf because that was the way they can go gamble."
Yeah.
And I saw that, and one of them asked me, did I want to learn how? And I said, sure. And first time I hit a ball and it went up in the air, I was sold. But at the same time, golf was a very expensive sport. And my dad reminded me all the time that we ain't got no money. Even though we did, in my opinion, because I never won it for anything, but he kept telling me we was poor. I said, well, I guess I can't play golf.
Well, your father,
and that same dude bought me a membership to play golf every day. Now remember, he said we had no money.
Right.
Because he felt like I was going to be too little to do what I aspired to do, which was play basketball.
Right.
So he told my mother, he said, listen, before he can go to the gym, he must play a round of golf every day. Because I'm going to play basketball every day.
That's deep.
So before you go to the gym, you have to play a round of golf. And I told the guy, I said, and guess what, my golf club, one of the guys in the neighborhood sold me a set of golf clubs for $40.
What? A whole set?
A whole set of golf. You can't buy 8 clubs for $40.
You were blessed, bro. You were blessed.
So I had a whole set of golf clubs, and I played with them until I was probably in my 20s.
What?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised that you probably wouldn't have been a golfer and been on the PGA tournament team. You know what I mean? Because you've done so much. That's why I esteem you and this opportunity that you have presented to so many wonderful people, men and women in sports, has just been amazing. When you spoke to me the other day when we were just chopping it up at the house and said, hey man, you know what, you want to come on the show? And I'm like, and then you told me to check out the project, and I went and I was like, woo wee, man, Sports Illustrated, them guys, ESPN, they ain't got nothing on you, bro. You know what I mean? But that's another one of your attributes to the game. You just come up with things and contents, and you've always been that way, man. And that's what I love about you, even more so than being kinfolk. You know, you are always thinking about people and other people and how to make life better. And you bring an awareness to so much with this project right here. You know what I mean?
Told a guy the other day, I said, I've been in the kid business all my life. and believe it or not, I just stopped going to school.
See,
when I had to retire to stop going to school.
What's crazy is you're interviewing me, and I feel like interviewing you. You know what I mean? Like I got a question.
happens sometimes.
I got a question for you while you're interviewing me. Where do you get your content from somewhere else, or does it just come from you?
All of this content is mine. All of the shows are created by me. I find a topic that I think some people need to hear. Just like I think I mean, we got a lot more to talk about, but I think people need to hear your story.
All right, but let's crank this thing up and let's keep going then.
All right, so here I am, Joe Blow from Timbuktu, and I want to get involved because I've listened to enough information right now. I broke it down into 3 parts. So how would I sign up if I was just wanting to be a participant? What would I do?
So from a peer, hey, I want my son to learn basketball, or I need a mentor to help my son. I played basketball, mom or dad, played in the Big 12, Pac-10, you name it. Or I just played high school, and my son or daughter doesn't want to listen to me, all right? And so right there, I would say stop. It happens to us all. Okay, I've had
coaches,
even coaches, and you can have all the accolades in the world and have a son or daughter with all the skills, potential skills that they need to be really good at this sport, but they don't want to listen. And so what we've done is provided a platform and an opportunity for parents to pick up the phone or email us at hoophunter@hoophunter.com and say, hey, I need to get an evaluation of my son or daughter. And so we start right there. We evaluate them, make a skills assessment. We play them a little bit to kind of see where they are. Because sometimes the way that a parent sees their kid doesn't quite link up with what it is they're expecting.
They don't equal, do
they? They don't equal. No, man.
Because he the baddest dude in the driveway.
They say sometimes they got a Lexus, man, and they got a hoopty, bro.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? And we have to ask God to help us, marinate that thing, man, so that people won't feel like we're trying to, talk them down, because we don't ever want to put down a family or a child, but we do have the experience needed to help parents help their children. And so when a parent is not able to get through to their kids, I'm like, listen, you don't have to do this forever, but come get some help. You know what I mean? So I say to all parents when it comes to players, if you think that maybe you have a potential professional athlete, WNBA, it doesn't matter, overseas, high school, college, listen, if you got a problem, I always say we're the answer. Okay, yes. I bring me the problems, okay, because coaches don't need your problem. They're trying to create a program, a winning tradition, trying to establish that, and they don't need all those problems and those headaches.
They got enough.
Yeah, they got enough. And so I'm saying, come see us,
right.
Okay? We know how to temper things down and then put some new stuff in you so that you can go back and be a productive participant in high school sports, middle school sports, youth sports, professional sports. It doesn't matter. So we say to all parents, call us. When it comes to community outreach.
What's that number?
That number is 817-491-9602. And, Coach, they can ask for Elizabeth Wells, and she will pick up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so now if you're a community and you've got a group of kids who just hadn't been built up in the game, there again, we'll join forces with you, call us. But we do want some level of leadership so that we can come wherever you are and address the situation in a favorable way. But we do like, adult leadership to be a part of it. So if it's community outreach, we'll come to you. If it's a church situation where they just got a program and they want some outside influences, because we are a Christ-centered youth sports organization. That's one of my things I have to always tell God, hey, God, now we're Christ-centered, but can we still teach them how to be a lion and a tiger and tough and competitive You with me?
Right.
Because I still want that dog in them.
Right.
I still want them to be competitive.
Yeah, you can be Christ-like, you can be a tiger.
You can still, you know, and they always say, why do you say you want that? You want some athletes, they're at a competitive, they have a potential to be on such a competitive level that you really want, you know that, man, what's missing is that dog. Not the D-O-G, but the D-A-double-G. You with me? And so, again, I tell all parents, listen, don't get worried about the money. Don't get worried about anything. Just either call us or hit us up by email at hoophunter@hoophunter.com or go straight to the website at hoophunter.com. All right? If you get a hold of us in some capacity, we're going to come and be a part of the success of your child or a group in your community, or it could be your team.
Right. I know you reached out. The UIL have a rule that during Christmas, all basketballs got to cease. Now, that's the only sport that UIL govern that in the middle of your season, you have to stop. I don't understand the total logic behind it. I know some of they need some time at home. Yeah. But basketball season is the longest season of any season. And then midway through, we have to take a break. 5 consecutive days of no coaching, teaching basketball.
Can't even get in the gym.
Can't go open the doors for them. Don't want to see them, whatever. But your organization provides a place where they could continue with their training, because most teams, when they come back off the 5-day break, have a game the next day.
Yes, they do.
And if they haven't done anything for 5 days, no conditioning, no this, no whatever. And your organization provides a facility with goals, nets, court, that if a kid wants to come up, put up some shots, wants to get some training, want to get some help with something that he's lacking in, they could do that.
Yeah. Well, we think it's important. I mean, we are part of the infrastructure. You know what I mean? You got coaches, you got trainers, you know what I mean? You got people that help with sports, fitness, and we're part of that one family. And I feel like, growing up in the gym, living in the gym, of course, we call those guys gym rats, and so I'm the ultimate gym rat, but I've been a trailblazer.
You lived right across the street from the gym. So you didn't have no chance.
Hey, let me tell you something. A lot of people are missing out right today on enhancing their ability to play the game because they see the wreck in a light that we didn't see it. Right. That's all we had. Now, if you tell somebody that you're going to the wreck, a lot of times they think you're Rudy Poo, can't play. Right. And you know what? It was just the opposite during our time. Right. You know what I mean? And if the doors were open at any recreation center throughout the Metroplex,
I tell you what, boy, I had one of the most fun days of my life playing at your
rink. I know what you're about to say, cuz. Here we go, y'all. Y'all get ready for this.
We just, we always was trying to find a competitive game somewhere, and I happened to be at your rec center.
On my side of town.
On your side of town.
Yeah, man.
Hooping, and this little cat sitting over there, and after the game, come over and say, "Hey, cuz."
I'm like,
Dion.
Yeah, man. New sheriff in town. He done came in town with his badge,
Yeah, man. And once I saw you there, I said, I got to impress him.
Well, you did. You did. People always ask me every now and then, could your cuz really dunk when he was playing ball? I'm like, bro, he could do it all, bro. He could outshoot me. He was a scorer. He was competitive. People all over the Metroplex knew him. I mean, Pinkston, baby. Come on now. Come on now.
Straight out of West Dallas.
Come on now. And I can't, I feel so, it's so important and special to me, your career. And I can talk about your career forever because I believe that when you become successful, I think it's important to reach back and never forget the people, the pioneers, man.
Right, I agree.
I don't see enough of it, and I tell people all the time that I was never the best in my neighborhood. There's so many people so much better than myself, but what I tell young people, don't discount yourself, though. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
We want to see you grow. You know what I mean? We want to see you improve. And to do that, you have to know your value. You've got to be willing to put in the work and be consistent. You got to let people help you. You got to be a listener, because a lot of young people, they don't listen. You know what I mean? And so again, this is a beautiful game. But like I say, Hoop on a Basketball and Building Believers, and what we do, I felt led and called to do what we're doing. And I decided many years ago that I was going to be a journeyman, no matter what I've gone through in life. And I've gone through some dips. I've gone through some hardships.
We'll get into a couple.
You know
of
what I
those
mean?
in a minute.
But you know what? This game has taught me how to thrive in the face of adversity.
Yeah. How you gonna learn to get up if you ain't never been knocked down?
See, and I call that today a push-up. You know what I mean?
Right,
Push-ups
right.
are good. Everybody want to be strong, but they want to do the work. You know what I mean?
Right. So, man, let's get back to the other 2 points I wanted to make regarding being a part of this organization. We just talked about how a participant or a parent could get in touch with the left, and it should be up on the screen, the phone number and the email address and stuff like that. And I want them phones ringing or those emails dinging off the wall after y'all see this show. But what about a person who loves it like, or even, I can't say like you do, but close to like you do, wants to be a part of it as a helping hand, volunteer? Do y'all take volunteers at times or certain situations? Or if someone wanted to inspire to do the same work you're doing within your organization, how would they go about that? Same thing, email, phone?
Well, yeah, email, phone, but we're an open book, though. I mean, we're here to help build up the game, build up communities, build up people, build up family, build up people's faith, you know? And so I'm so grateful that we have a tool, all right, or I'd say another way of saying that, a vehicle, which is our not-for-profit organization, which is buildingbelievers.org, okay, different websites, okay, different missions, all right, you got 2 different vehicles. And so if someone wanted to volunteer, all they have to do is email us, okay? All they have to do is communicate with us, let us know, all right? And those who want to sponsor, I mean...
And that was my last piece of the thing.
You know,
somebody wants to invest in this.
Yeah, well, we've had people, we never know where it's going to come from. We just out here laborers, and we're doing the work. We know that if you do the work in any field that you've been called and you get really good at it, man, listen, the sponsors are going to come. But you know what? What we like to do is take that money that we get and we reinvest it. We reinvest it in kingdom building through the game. You know, and like right now, you know, we've got, we're doing we call it a 2024 building restoration project. So we've got our gymnasium out in Roanoke, Texas, just right up the street from Flower Mound. But we've got, through an investment of the people, we're totally restoring our facility. Just got the whole gym repainted and just new walls, but it was because of parents who see what we've been able to do in communities all over the Metroplex. And one of the things that I think you're helping me with today is when I come home, I see every now and then guys that I played with, Troy Dixon, Willie Mack, you know, Trove Smith, and they say, man, why don't you do something at home? And I'm like, we're open book, we're here, we're ready. You know what I mean? We just happen to be up north. But sometimes when you've been called into a mission field through sports, you go where you're called. And as my mother always said, you know, she said, when you know, until you make it, you really can't do a lot for others. But when you make it, now you can. Okay? And so we might be, our main location may be in Roanoke, but guess what? We will travel and we will go wherever the doors are open.
Yes, sir.
And just give us some kids that want to learn the game and get built up. But we also, through the game, we try to talk about character building. You know what I mean? So we don't just leave it there. So, you know, when someone thinks about, you know, donating, you know, being a sponsor or even a volunteer, or even like right now, we got a campaign out there right now looking for good trainers. You know what I mean? A couple of good trainers, because we're growing. All right. So if you're a trainer out there and you feel like, hey, you know what? I want to get involved in this organization. So again, I say, give us a shout at hoophunter@hoophunter.com. That's the email. Or you can call us, 817-491-9602. And we'll talk to you about how to get your information to us, and we'll give you a shot at it.
Got it. So now we finna have a little fun.
Let's go.
So let's go back in time, because this is, you have to, I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but I think this is a generation of validation.
Okay, yeah.
If you can't tell me nothing if you can't show me you and already had something to do with it, right? You know, if you ain't experienced it, you ain't wanted it. So let's take them back and let them hear some stuff about my cuz, who I was so proud of. And a lot of people are misconstrued or misinterpreted about a lot of things. And, you know, I was accused one time, and my athletic director in the Burville ISD, which was Willa Gibson, and I talked about this. She said, I used to get calls all the time on you recruiting. And I said, okay, if he's recruiting, prove it.
Yeah.
You know, show. It's not a fact that the guy's good and people want to come play for him.
Right.
You out doing this. And the reason why I said this, I try to set the table for when you were in high school, and I mean his senior year was a blessed senior year for him. He was killing it. And I was walking around my school, and I'm coaching at the time with my chest out.
Yeah.
Actually, back it up. Your junior year. Your junior year, you was killing it.
Yeah.
Started then. And then you gave me a call, almost in tears.
Yeah.
And you was like, man, my coach, man, I'm not sure, this, that, and that. Now, mind you, your coach was one of my favorite people.
That's right.
And so I was sitting there, and I'm going, so what's going on?
Yeah.
He said, man, I don't want to play for him no more. I want to come play for you.
Yeah.
And I said, golden opportunity to be a recruiter if I wanted to be a recruiter.
Yeah, but you cuz, and you're like, hey man, where we at?
I said, I can't do that. First of all, I can't do that. It ain't right.
Yeah.
And I need him at a young age learn how to fight.
Yeah.
And whatever, you the best player on the team, and you and your coach ain't gonna see eye to eye. Oh heck no, that's something wrong with that.
Yeah, I've been there, man.
And I said, hey, no, I want you to stay.
Yeah.
And I'll never say anything about this conversation until now. Well, it don't matter.
Yeah,
It don't matter
no. We got it now. We got it figured out now.
Yeah. And so you stayed.
Yeah.
You played.
Yeah.
And I didn't win any championships, and probably could have if I had you. But tell us about your high school, man. Where did you go, and who'd you play for? And
Well, first off, I started out because of the influence of the coaches that worked in the Rex. In the summer, I was influenced by Coach Barnes to go over to Roosevelt, which is really the starting point of my high school career. And I just loved all of the players and the parents and the brand of basketball they played.
And one of your best friends was there.
Boom. Hey, Ronell Peters is still today one of my best mentors, friends, and I still look up to him and esteem him and his family, and so many more. Ricky Robinson, but I got to play with some great people, Carr Wright and Ren Wright. It was just such a legacy, but it wasn't just at Roosevelt. There was legacies all over this Metroplex. That's why I give every school their props. You know what I mean? But I played their season and played on the JV and did work. I mean, we did work, and we won a couple of times against South Oak Cliff, and they were like, this guy's out the district, you know what I mean? And so I didn't want to bring any shame upon my family. So I went ahead and enrolled in the summer at South Oak Cliff because I didn't want to bring any shame to anybody because I purely fell in love with the young men and the families that was over there and the brand of basketball, and I really thought it was something I needed in my career. And so I did get that. And so I took that to South Oak Cliff and established my new family. And for 2 years under the late Henry Warren, who condolences to his family, he just passed away recently, I heard. And he really took me under his wing and taught me how to let it go. You know, I knew I had it, but I didn't know how to let it go. You know what I mean? And I can remember him at during games, and I was a little, I was kind of pulling back in some of the big games because I love playing against Forward Dunbar. That was my dream game every year. But he would, because I didn't want too much attention, but I started getting attention. I started being in the newspaper, and everything. And then as a sophomore, I got my first TV interview. And after that, Coach, I wanted to be in front of 50,000 people playing ball, right? And so, but he would come to me on the sidelines. He taught me how to turn from away from the team. And then he talked to me in my ears. He says, "Shoot the ball, baby. You gotta shoot the ball if we gon' win it." You know what I mean? Yeah. And so anyway, that was really cool and inspirational. But anyway, so that took place, and then he got let go. And then at my senior year, I got a new coach, man. And I tell you, I wasn't ready for him. You know what I mean? He was a big dog. You know what I mean? And I was a puppy. I wasn't ready for him on the mental side. You know what I mean? I had the game. I had the attitude for winning, but I didn't have what he wanted me to have to prep me, because he knew something. And his name was Coach, the late, great Jimmy Gales. And these rings y'all see, listen, I attribute a lot of it to him, because guess what? He taught me how to be a big dog. You with me? Right. And it was through that adversity. It was through that jealousy. It was through all of those, man, those days where we're going full court, baseline to baseline. And when we shot a free throw, if you missed it, back then you could get a paddling. Okay? And so that's called accountability. So you can't do that anymore. But we were so good because, you know what? There was always we were held to a higher standard. You know what I mean? And that had something to do with, the success of our community, our school, our peer group, and the men and women that played before us.
And to finish this story off about the late, great Jimmy Gales, he was the best friend of my first coach I ever had as a coach, and I'll never forget Mr. Bobby Smith.
Bobby Smith
and Jimmy Gales, they were inseparable and cut from the same cloth, and man.
So know a thing or two about that.
Yes, sir. And Jimmy Gales is the first coach to put me in the paper for something I didn't want to be in the paper for. His team ran a boxing one and held me to 2 points.
Oh, Coach.
And I'm like, wow, what is this man doing to me?
Yeah.
He had all the gimmicks, man. But when we got ready to toss it up for the jump ball, he had told his players to untie my shoes.
Yeah.
And we standing around the jump ball circle. I didn't even realize they get ready to toss it up. They tell me to tie my shoes. I'm like, why?
What?
His guy just stood right next to him and untied him. I didn't even know it.
It's a different era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a different era. And if you don't come up in that era and you're not used to that, it could take a while to adjust to.
Yep. And then along the lines of Jimmy Gales this is the same guy that you had problems with, that you ended up playing for, not only in high school, but in college. He became the head coach at UNT, and you ended up playing for him because you were at UNT.
Yeah.
And then after that, you went to work for him.
Boom, yeah.
At UNT.
Boom, man. You never know, man.
So that's why I'm glad I was able to intervene into that situation with you transferring.
It was timely. Little did I know, because I tell all young people, man, when you're going through these trials, these adversities, man, listen to people, man, because they know, they've been there, they've done that, and your words of wisdom, I didn't know how valuable it would be. But let me tell you something. If you were to ask me today, am I happy that I went through that? Yeah, it's the rock today that I stand on. And that adversity taught me how to thrive. Right. It really did. And today, I won't make any qualms about it. I mean, because of him and those times, listen, I went to a junior college for a year, okay? And it was all right. We got fourth in the nation. And I decided to go in the Air Force for a moment, because my brother was there. Not it. Came back out and went to a junior college in Odessa for a semester. Not it. Didn't get to play. And then Coach Jimmy Gales calls me and says, hey, man.
The same guy,
yeah, that I thought hated my guts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he said, hey, Hunter, Jimmy Gales, about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, what are you doing calling me? And he says, I think I'm getting a job at UNT. It was North Texas at that time. He said, I need a point guard. I'd like to know if you'd be interested. And I'm like, me? But you know what? Little did I.
And you called me again.
Boom. Cuz, can you believe this? You know what I mean? Yeah. But what little did I know, and other people know, at that point I've been through some things. And I had been through some trials, and And what I discovered through it all was, hey, you know what? It's been a heck of a testing period for me. Yeah. And what I realized is that I really do love basketball. And I've been through so much that when he asked me that, I said, let me think about it. And then I said, you know what? What can it hurt? Because at this point, I have no more feelings in me. I was no longer a touchy-feely kind of dude. That went away. That flew away because of the levels of adversity. And when I went to UNT with him, I just said, we're going to win. And so he continued to be the way that he was. He continued to say what he needed to say. And I just said, fine, I'm going to get it done. You know, you say what you need to say. You do it the way you need to do it. And I knew I had matured when I realized that none of the things that he asked me for ever bothered me again. Meaning, after playing for him, I'm saying I wanted to play for Bobby Knight, and then I wanted to play for the late Vince Lombardi. You with me? I'm like, let's go. Just let's go get it done.
Them kind of dudes.
I don't care how, them kind of dudes, because that's where that toughness comes in. And that's what's been a big part of my legacy is those types of things happening and me not quitting and just being unwavering and moving forward with it.
Yeah, I'm just happy that I played the right role. You know, sometimes you can go try to play a part and you pick the wrong character.
Yeah. Yeah, you were the seed planter. You every time I came to you, that I was temperamental, I was unsure.
Right.
I didn't feel good about going anywhere else. But I knew that I had a cousin that had skin on the wall in this game, and I knew I could come to you. And you always gave me the right words, but I didn't, you know what I mean? I didn't know that it would be so valuable until later.
Either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I'm whining, you know what I mean? I'm over here whining and, griping about, and it was touchy-feely kind of stuff. But, that's why I always say that players and even parents, you got to let coaches do what they got to do. You got to let them say what they got to say, because what they don't realize is some of the things that need to be said are the things that's going to help your kid become highly successful, not just in sports, but throughout life. Because there's some development that has to take place, and there's some things that need to be inserted into your character, your work ethic, and your ability to be able to take things with a grain of salt.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you helped me with a lot of that.
And I remember when we went to Atlanta.
That was a trip. Boom!
You were down there as a college coach, and I was down there as a high school guy, just trying to get involved with possibly getting into college. And I go to Atlanta.
And we drove.
No, actually, you drove.
Yeah.
I flew.
Yeah.
But you told me you drove, and when you told me you drove, I said, you got to drive all the way back to Dallas by yourself? I cashed in my ticket and drove with you.
With me, that's right.
And we sung the whole trip.
Yeah.
Sung the whole trip. You could have told us anything. We were rappers. We was everything.
Man, and listen, man, I'm telling you, like Mays and Frankie Beverly, man, we unfolded that thing, man. You know what I mean?
It was crazy.
Oh, God.
Drive all the way back from Atlanta. He said, what? You drove out there. I had an airline ticket to fly my butt back.
Yeah.
I say, no, because you can't do that
can't
by
do
yourself.
That.
You drove out there by yourself, but
you ain't going back.
Okay, so tell me about this professional basketball stint you had, too.
To be honest, man, I always tell young people, keep working in spite of your missteps, self-doubt moments. Keep working, keep doing the work. The results will come. I was an overachiever, and I went the extra mile all the time. And while at UNT, I was very blessed to have a good core of young men who helped me work daily. But I always worked a lot on my own. Still today.
Today.
I've always gone the extra mile. I've been a trailblazer. So we won a couple of championships. In my senior year, I became the MVP of the league, Southland Conference, and we went to the NCAA. And so
wait, I gotta stop. One of the happiest days in my life. And anybody who's watching this that's an old school coach, you remember that TV that you used to wheel into your classroom to show movies on with the cassette player and when his team went to the NCAA tournament, they drew number 1 North Carolina.
That's right.
And I shut everything down that day and made my classes watch my cousin. I said, that's my cousin playing for UNT, and they're playing North Carolina. What was the big guy that played for them?
J.R. Reed.
J.R. Reed.
Yeah.
And he was a beast.
Scott Brown. Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had to cut y'all.
No, that's
I just
okay.
want you to know, you wasn't the only one enjoying that.
You have a right to do that, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting here with the legend, you know what I mean? And so I'm just following his lead. And again, I thank you for allowing me to be on your show. This is the Passion Project. It's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
it's got a lot more things going to come through here, and great people going to sit next to you, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I hope they know who they sit next to, though, you know what I mean? But I will say this. Hard work does pay off if you don't quit, all right? And you will have moments when you feel like quitting, but because of that work that was put in, and we had a lot of success, the visibility that it gave us really worked in my favor, okay? And when you have that level of success, people don't remember all those hardships in high school. They don't remember all those setbacks and those letdowns and those moments that you feel like the world is so dark that, you know what I mean, you don't even realize that you still have value. But you know what? As the Bible says, this too shall pass. You know, all you got to do is keep pedaling, you know? But I did that, and sure enough, one day, Coach Jimmy Gales got a letter in the mail. And he handed it to me, and I opened it, and it says, hey, you're selected as one of the 60 guys by the NBA to go play in the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. And all the NBA coaches are going to sit in this gym and watch you play. One of 60. And I'm like, me? And I mentioned it to coach. He said, oh, that ain't nothing. Well, sure enough, they flew me to Portsmouth. And I didn't pay for it. And I'm in the hotel with guys that I watched on CBS Sports on Sunday. And matter of fact, that's when I became friends with Tim Hardaway, Sr., while out there. And we played games that weekend, and I'm sitting in the gym while I don't know if it was 24 teams at that time, but all of their reps was there. And then we had a ballroom that evening, Coach. And I got to meet the late, great Coach Auerbach, Red Auerbach, of the Boston Celtics. Yes. And that's what really put me on the back, on the map, basically, and people became familiar with who I was. They didn't just see me as a MVP of the league, you know what I mean? So after that, I was asked by the Mavericks to come to training camp. I was asked by the Washington Bullets back then in Chicago. I got a letter to come to training camps. Obviously, being from Dallas, I chose Dallas, and so I had Coach McLeod the first year, John McLeod, and I had a great training camp. And he pulled me out. After training camp was over, he pulled me aside. He said, he said, Dion, listen, you're one of the best small point guards I've ever seen. There's a place for you in the NBA. All right? He said, there's a place for you in the NBA. And I'm getting let go, because Steve Alford was under contract. There were some things that happened, and there's a business. You know that.
Yes.
You know all about that. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, man, you're telling me all these wonderful things, but
you're letting me go.
But you're letting me go, you know what I mean? And sure enough, the good saving grace for that is that, because of the success we had in school, at college, I was also drafted in the CBA to play for the Wichita Falls Texans. And so I took that opportunity, played there for a season, and then the next year the Mavericks brought me back, and I'm like, and so I guess that was just, again, they valued me, and there's some credibility there, and I got cut again. I had Richie Adubato that year, and so I went through a lot. And what was really fascinating to me, and this is when you've matured, some of the same guys that really gave me a lot of the HE-double hockey sticks, in high school, that really helps develop and shape your character. They were right there asking for an autograph during training camp. And I gladly did that, and I didn't take it. I didn't take it personal. I just knew that, you know what, this is how it is. This is how it works. That helped me. You know what I mean? You helped me, bro. You know what I mean? Right. And you have to turn a negative. You have to learn, throughout life, sports, hardships. You have to learn how to take a negative and turn it into a positive. You know what I mean? And that's what you have to do. A lot of people don't do that. They let negativity, bad moments. They let it, take them places they're not supposed to go. But it should be used to propel you. And so I was real blessed. And so I got that opportunity twice. And then when I left that training camp, I got a job offer playing professionally in Argentina. And so, that by itself was great. And then I'll tell you the last one you probably already know. So I'm done with playing because I didn't want to be a jock. That's why I was happy I got my degree. So I'm in Den working, and all of a sudden I watch the Mavericks play, and Fat Lieber gets hurt. I'm at a restaurant with my girl watching the game, and all of a sudden I saw him get hurt, and then I get a call on Saturday. Hey, Dion, this is Rick's son. Fat Lieber got hurt. We need you here tomorrow. But you're number 2. We called Kelvin Upshaw, who was in camp with me the previous year, and if he's overseas playing, we need you here tomorrow, and we'll sign you to a $500,000 contract. I'm like, what? It's like, say what? And sure enough, that Sunday he called and said, hey, Kelvin, he wasn't on the contract, and Kelvin was in uniform next day, but that's how close. That's how sometimes, I always tell young people, sometime in life, don't quit. Because many of you are a foot away from having success. You're a foot away from getting what you want in life. And I know you've been in that position.
Or you're a foot closer.
Or a foot, okay, yes, or a foot closer. You know what I mean? And so that's part of all of the life lessons I've learned through my experience playing basketball. So did I get to the top of that mountain? Absolutely. So now I'm trying to help other people get to the top of their mountain. Because it may not be WNBA, it may not be professional basketball for men. It might be just the top of your game, period, for middle school, high school, college, you know what I mean? And so that's what our organization is trying to do, is help prep people for success. You know what I mean?
Right. And, without mistake about the way I'm trying to say this is, you're very small. How tall are you?
5'9", probably 8.5.
So beat a lot of odds.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that to say this. This is why his programs, going after that B team guy or that C team guy and helping them develop and finding their path, could be valuable. Because I'm going to tell you, those years that I coached at Richland, when we had an A and a B team, there was always a B teamer who made varsity and ended up impacting us. There was always a B teamer.
Yeah. You can't count them out.
Can't count them out.
Yeah, you wouldn't want your kid to be counted out. You want them to give an opportunity.
And I think that was the biggest thing that pushed me as a player, because my dad, and I've talked about this before on the show, was very pessimistic, and I took his pessimism to my advantage because it made me fight even harder. How you know in the 4th grade that I'm gonna be too little to be a college or professional basketball?
I know, yeah.
In the 4th grade, you already know this? No.
Yeah.
And that's why he pushed baseball and golf, where size didn't have any kind of influence on it.
Yeah.
But I say he may not have known what he was doing, but he did a good job.
But he did a good job. That's why you have to dust those haters off, them naysayers. You got to dust them off, man. Right. Boom, and keep going. You know what I mean?
And what a segue. This is going to lead me into the last part of the last segment of this podcast. There are some things that happen in our personal life that most people never see, because we wear the same face every time you see us.
Yeah.
And in your case, and it's crazy because a lot of our path is very similar.
Yeah, it is.
And we just both kind of went through some of the same thing. Yours a little bit more severe than mine, but some similarities, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the health issues you had, because you had your gym journey bag and you were rolling. No matter what it dealt you were able to handle it.
Yeah.
Tell us about this health scare we had.
Well, first of all, I would say this. I'm very confident, in who I am, what I've done, and in what the good Lord has allowed to take place in my life. You don't get to determine all elements of what your life is going to be. Sometimes things are going to come your way that are just strictly out of your control, and it's genetic. And so I've got 4 siblings, and they don't play basketball, they don't run, they don't jump, they don't eat a Mediterranean-style diet like me, you know what I mean? I've been so regimented. Now I'm gluten-friendly, and I'm like, but this is the way that I've chosen to live my life. And it worked for me. And then all of a sudden in 2017, I woke up and I was jogging and I felt something different. You know, I'm like, man, something's making me stop. I felt like, you know, I felt like blood was flowing, and all of a sudden I felt like a wall went up, and then it made me stop. And then when I stopped, it'd go away. And then when I jogged again, it came back, and I'm like, what is this? So I went months trying to figure that out, changing my diet a little bit and running, and nothing worked. And so one Sunday, I told my wife at church, I said, man, something's not right. And I never wanted to go to the hospital for anything. Right. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, you know, we have this idea that people go to the hospital because they're about to die. But I'll tell you what I know now. People go to the hospital because they want to live. So if you ever need to go to the hospital, go because you choose to live. Because the power of life and death, scripturally speaking, it says it's in the power, it's in the tongue. And so always choose life. So I went to the hospital, and they kept me for a day. And you know the story. And they said, hey, and they ran tests, and here's something for heartburn and acid reflux. And I went home saying, really? you know, right. You know, I'm like, God, I believe in healing, but okay. And 3 months later, I got off work from training. Everybody was asleep. The NBA Finals was on, and all of a sudden, I just felt something, boom, just catch me like that. I'm like, what is that? A heart attack from HE double hockey sticks? I don't know, but I didn't know what it was. And I went for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Don't do that. And because I was told, I was fed some misinformation, you know, and so I was led to believe it was that. And because of my athleticism, it didn't really, it didn't
resonate with you.
Yeah, that it was a heart attack.
Right.
And then about,
because you're running, you're doing all the right stuff. You're eating right, you're running, you look good, you feel good until now.
Until now. And so all of a sudden, man, after about 2 hours and 30 minutes, I knew it was something different. And I barely made it into the bedroom and said, babe, I need you to call 911. And she did. And they came in and they said, and that's the first time I've ever wanted an ambulance, paramedics, fire department, police, to be at my house. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want to live, you know? Right. And they came in and put some stuff on me. And did EKG and all that stuff. Said, man, you having an acute heart attack? And I was like, no crap, Sherlock. And sure enough, they were able to get me to the hospital in time. And I was in fight mode, you know what I mean? And people don't realize that, and we'll talk about this a little later, but when you go through that, your body goes into a fight, flight, or freeze mode, and it tries to protect you. That's a mental thing, you know what I mean? And it's working on your behalf when you don't even realize it. And so that was the day that I discovered that I had genetic heart disease. There's nothing I could have done to stop it, but I had 100% blockage in my widowmaker and 100 in my left artery, main artery, and then 90% in my circumflex. And so it was a new game. It's a new ball game now. You know what I mean?
New opponent. Man.
Yeah, new opponent, man. And so, you know, and all I can say today is, you know, I live with something that I'd never asked for, but it's my attitude that makes the difference. And here of late, as you know, last year, I had one vessel that they left alone that was partially blocked because it made the letter Z. Okay, it's zigzag, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but it started giving me some problems when I trained, just a little bit. So I went to inquire about it, and my cardiologist said, well, you know, we left one alone. And I'm like, when I was asleep? You know what I mean? I didn't know about it. And I said, well, let's get it worked out. I want the blood to flow all the way through real smoothly. So they went to do that, and in the middle of, while I was awake, they sent me to Plano Heart Hospital. And my wife and I, we prepped for this, man. We were like, man, this is going to be, we're going to probably get a stent put in this area. And it's a day surgery. And we did back home, and I'm back on the court. Sure enough, doing the procedure while awake, the cardiologist, the Michael Jordan of the industry, says, hey, coach, I'm sorry, my instrument is stuck. We're going to have to do open heart. And I'm like, no, you can't, no. And there again, I've had to witness something like that I never thought could happen to me. Maybe somebody else, but not me. But you know what? They were able to get me situated, and I woke up on ventilators and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, and it's easy to think you did something wrong, but you don't always do things wrong. But it's how you respond to those situations. And I've had, you know, like people like you, my church, my basketball family and friends, and people that love me, I knew were praying for me throughout the whole experience, but it was an experience.
Oh, yeah.
It was unique. And so through that experience, I I got situated and I did cardiac rehab and was in it like, I'm like, man, dude, I inspired everybody while in that while in that training session for several weeks. And when I got out and I was done, and I'm telling you this story because it can happen to anybody, but I'm saying don't quit. But I got somewhere I'm gonna go with this. When I got done with that, I ended up developing frozen shoulder where I woke up and I couldn't move. I'm like, what is this? It's a new task. Wow, man, what a ball game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Got that situated. They say your arm will get better when it gets better. Huh? So I had to deal with that mentally. Now my body is going through things called trauma. All right, so now we enter the word medical trauma. Body's going through something, brain going through something. And in our society, nobody wants to talk about the brain because everybody thinks that if you talk about the brain, you cray-cray. And I'm like, no, matter of fact, you're not, you're smart, okay? And so I get through that, and then 8 months later, I'm on the treadmill, hadn't started jogging yet, and I feel shortness of breath. I'm like, so I go to Cancun. I call it hospital, Cancun, or the Caribbeans. It's the place you go to live, not die. So I go there. My wife said, you want me to take you? I said, no, I'm good. I got this. We good. And I get in there, and they take a blood test, and they said, hey, your heart enzyme troponin levels are elevated, which means that something else is going on. So they did a catheterization next morning and says, hey, your Widowmaker stent that we put in 2017, it collapsed. What? I was like, what's the plan? They said, we're going to reopen it with another one. I'm like, do what you got to do. And so again, God's been good. So they did that, Coach, and so I got back on my feet and start, jogging in January of 2024. And sure enough, right after that, I'm gonna use this word wisely. I start dealing with medical trauma, stress, and anxiety. That means I woke up one morning and I didn't feel right. And so that led to me saying, hey, doc, what's going on? Is something wrong? Are we okay? Do y'all need to go back in? And they did go back in. They said, your plumbing and electrical is good. So now I go back to the primary care physician, and they said, Coach, you're dealing with now situational post-traumatic stress. So now we use the word mental health, which is what nobody really wants to talk about. But I've been greatly impacted by these episodes, and I've learned a lot. And I even have a counselor now that helps me with it because mental health is important. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but it's nothing to be afraid of. And so I see a counselor. I've taken some medicine to get me over bridges, to get me back to where I need to be. And it's a journey.
Because hope is not the answer.
Woo! Not the answer.
It's not the answer. You gotta get what you gotta get. And what's crazy about listening to all of this, I've heard it before, but I wanted the audience, my audience, to hear this story, is that I went through something very similar. It's funny because when I was at his house a couple weeks ago, we were comparing scars. And just like him, I went to the hospital because I had gone to my primary care doctor and my blood pressure was elevated. Yeah. And then they called me back and said my EKG was abnormal, same thing he talked about. Yeah. And then she said, I had just picked up my wife from work, and they said, you need to go to emergency immediately.
Right now. Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. I know about that.
I ended up staying in the hospital for 5 days, and we compared this when they have to go through your wrist at the same mark, same marks, to go and check my valves. Fortunately for me, nothing was blocked. All arteries, freeways, were running smooth.
Yeah, short streets good.
All that stuff. So stuff worked out a little bit better in regards to what the problem was for me. But we both here today, and I'm happy to be here. And what a freaking episode, man.
Boom!
If it ain't something in this episode that can help somebody, I ain't doing this, man.
Well, you're going to get to do this a lot because this is
something in here.
Yeah. And it's for everybody.
Right. So This is episode 1. I think this might be season 5. We done so many of these things now, and I'm happy to be back on air. And Cuz, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Way to go. I'm proud to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Let's keep growing. Let's keep going.
Yeah, keep growing and keep going. I'm your host, Coach Richard Bacon. See you next time.